Hey everybody, I wanted to do a quick little video to give a couple of tips on hand and wrist and forearm support. So, a lot of times when we're new to flexibility or mobility training, or maybe even we're just coming from our job where we work with our hands or a workout where maybe we were doing a lot of plank work, we might find that especially our wrists are feeling a lot of discomfort when we're in tabletop. And we come to tabletop a lot in flexibility to do a whole bunch of different stretches, to set up for different stretches. And so sometimes when you work a lot there, it can be a little uncomfortable. So I wanted to share a couple of tips I have for that and just some actual stretches for the hands and wrists and forearms. So I hope you guys enjoy this and come meet me down on your mat or in a comfy spot and we'll do a few stretches for the wrists. Okay, so we're going to get started in tabletop, actually. So we'll go ahead and set up in our nice strong table. And one thing that helps right away with wrist support is actually the placement of our hands when we come to tabletop. So I always say in class we want to spread our fingers wide, and especially if we can spread between our index finger and our thumb. And we want to really try to press evenly into all 10 fingers. You're going to find that that right away is going to help to alleviate some of the pressure in our wrists. If we're kind of just coming here and pressing almost into the heel of your palm, then you're going to find that all of that weight, all that pressure is going into your wrist, which isn't going to feel too good. So we want to really spread our fingers. That's why we always say that, setting up a strong base here and press up out of all 10 fingers. So that's kind of our first thing, is just coming to tabletop. We want to go ahead and set up nice and strong. And if we're brand new to repeatedly coming to tabletop, then it will take a little bit of time for us to build up that strength. But with consistency and repeated practice, we'll definitely find that this gets a little bit easier. But that's something we can do straight away to set us up nice and strong. But I'm going to show you a little stretch that I like to do for the wrists and forearms. So setting up in our nice strong tabletop, go ahead and reverse your placement of your hands so that your fingers are facing you. And right away, you might feel this big stretch through the wrists and forearms. So this is a nice place to come to if you've been doing a lot of plank work, or if your wrists are just feeling uncomfortable from being in tabletop. Just right here, we're feeling that big stretch. Now, we don't want to feel any pain, but if it feels good in your wrists, in your hands, and your forearms, you can lean back just slightly. And we're talking like millimeters here, like teeny tiny micro movements. And then we're really going to feel that big stretch. And you can lean forward to come out of it and maybe gently come back in. Maybe do that a few times, breathing deeply. And if it feels good, you might even do small, again, micro movements here is all we need. Small circles with the wrists. Just getting a little bit of movement in there. And then maybe reverse the direction of your circle. You can probably hardly even make out that I'm doing circles with my wrists right now, but it's just that tiny bit of movement is going to go such a long way. Good. And then you can do this one hand at a time or both hands at the same time. Something else we can do is bring our fingers so that they're facing each other. Get a nice stretch through the wrist. And then here we might take micro movement left to right if that feels good. Again, we don't want to feel any pain. We don't want to push ourselves, push our wrists or our hands to the point where it hurts. We just want to get a nice stretch. Maybe a little bit forward and back. Good. Something else we like to do in class, or sometimes I'll just do this if I've been working on my computer, typing a lot, or maybe writing a lot, doing something with your hands that your wrists just need a little bit of a break, is just pausing for a couple of minutes, interlacing your fingers, and then just doing little figure eights with your wrists. Just a tiny bit of movement can sometimes help so much. So you can always pause if we are working in tabletop and it's not feeling good. You can just take a break right in live class and just do these for a few seconds, breathing deeply. And you might find that that helps alleviate some discomfort in your wrists. And then, of course, we can do a little stretch for the fingers as well, just bringing one hand forward and then with the other hand gently stretching our fingers back. Nothing major. We've probably all seen or done this one before. Just helpful to get a nice stretch. Feel this in the fingers, the wrist, the forearm. Just little movement that can go a really long way. And these are things that sometimes we forget about, but they're working really hard to support us. Our hands and our feet work really hard when we're doing these stretches or other exercises. We'll do a little video for the feet later on, but it's nice to just take a moment and stretch them out too. Give them a little bit of attention so that they can continue to support us. And then maybe go ahead and extend your hands straight out, and we'll lift our wrists up here. So like we're pressing our palms into a wall, and just stretch that out for a couple of cycles of breath. And then go ahead and drop them. So we're getting this counter stretch in the wrists. Again, small movement here, just working back and forth, doing some circles with the wrists. But don't be afraid to take a break if you're working through flexibility, mobility classes, especially if you're in my class. It's always encouraged. We never want to feel pain. So if we need to take a second and just kind of take a step back, maybe do a couple of circles with the wrists, maybe stretch out the forearms a little bit or our fingers, absolutely do that, because the whole point is that we want to find something that is helping us, right? And we're not going to get anywhere if we're feeling pain. So we want to come to that spot that feels really good for our body that day and give it the care that it needs. So those are just a couple of really, really simple things that I love to do for the hands, the wrists, the forearms. Sometimes they need a little extra care. So I hope you guys find that helpful. Subscribe to my channel if you want to stay up to date with my videos. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.